Welcome back to Flight Quest 40. Looking at Hell's Canyon. Thought we'd take a nice little flight through the canyon after we'd been rescued from part 5. This is now part 6. We're just going to meander along the Snake River as we head into the next airport, which is going to be the United States Forest Station Airport, or Forest Service area. It's a grass strip not too far away. Well, we're going to put some of those canyon flying techniques and practices, some good, some bad, into practice here. This really quick, short flight. As we're making our way to our destination, eventually, probably there'll be a part 7 and a part 8, and that should do it. Then I'm going to combine all these videos together and make like a, probably will be an hour and a half of video, all combined without all the editing and the in-between stuff. Okay, we're coming down in here. The weather looks pretty good, not a problem. We got the winds out of the west, allowing the airplane to stabilize around 100. Then we're going to come back up to power here, probably about 18, 19 inches on the manifold pressure. Let's bring our prop control back. That's the blue knot. Beautiful view of the canyon here. We can see a way out if need be. Right now it looks like we're a little bit trapped, but I can see the river going off to the left, and I know from studying the charts that as long as we're over the river area, we will always have an out. That may not be the particular case. If we made a right or left into one of these boxed canyons, we could find ourselves getting trapped. Well, what we had mentioned in the previous videos is we're meandering our way across Snake River. We are on the right side of the canyon. Very good reason for that, and I'm sure you know the answer. We are flying the upslope side in the canyon. Therefore, it's more stable, it's more smooth, you get more performance, and if we have to do a 180 canyon turn to get out of here because of weather, because of turbulence, because of anything, we can make that 180 turn. And when we make that, we'll be making that left turn into the wind. Well, we have our 45-degree angle bank, maybe a little bit more if needed. We're getting a little bit of turbulence now. I can feel it. You can see a little bit of the white water on the river down there. But we've got a little bit of a crab going on, crabbing into the wind to the left. So if we have to turn into the wind, that means our ground track or ground distance is going to be a lot less than if we would have a tailwind. So if we were to do that turn, let's say we had to get out of here now, we could do that left turn 180 at the appropriate place. We don't want to be too hasty. And then flying into the wind turns into a headwind, and therefore our ground speed diminishes. The distance above the ground diminishes. We have a slower ground speed. If we were to make that turn into the wind, our ground speed would pick up. We travel more distance in that turn, and we would smash into the other side of the canyon wall. And that is not habit forming. Usually you can do that one time and that's it. Hey Ma, watch this trick. I can do it once, but it's going to be a good one. And you got to think about a lot of things here as we meander our way through the canyon. If we were to do a 45-degree angle bank, working out the numbers, anywhere from 45 to 60 degrees. Let's take a look, and we're flying at, right about what we're doing now. What, 90 miles per hour, 95? Let's just call it an even number. Or odd number, what it be, would be 100. If I were to do a 45-degree bank, angle bank to the left, at a ground speed of, say, indicated 100, the distance of the course reversal needed from one side of the turn to the opposite side of the turn would be 1,800 feet. So that's about a quarter mile of a turn. figure 5,240 feet is a mile, somewhere in there, I forget. 5,480? I have to look at those things. We used to know them when we were kids. We could stop those things off left and right. Well, we're doing pretty good. Things are pretty smooth. We are running about 2,400 feet above our mean sea level. Tops and the peaks are up there. Some of the things we have to remember that when we talk about updrafts and downdrafts, when you refer to a updraft, usually, if you ever heard the word adiabatic, okay, so the upslope wind is the adiabatic wind. Now the downside, where the wind is coming down, and you can see our steep turn getting into here. We're meandering our way around this nice little 90-degree pass in here. We're still closest to the wind side, the upslope side. We do have some outs here if we need it. Now as we get closer to the downslope side of the wind, we can get it, depending on the strength of the wind, we can have some severe pushing down of the airplane getting closer to the ground without having any good performance. Those winds are known as katabatic. So when you think about katabatic and adiabatic, the adiabatic winds will generally happen in the morning going towards the afternoon. Because what happens in the canyon is that generally as the terrain warms up, it creates extra heat, more heat, and therefore those winds coming up, they have a tendency to rise. A warmer air column will rise. So that's adiabatic. And that's usually our upslope side of the canyon. So when you think about it, what's the upslope side? So if the sun is rising and then the west side of the canyon wall is taking a hit from the sun, that's going to be warming up. So we'll be on the west side of the canyon wall or the warmest side of it for the upslope. Conversely, in the evening, these winds kind of shift, will shift. So as the terrain radiates its heat away, the air becomes cooler and more dense, and it turns into a katabatic wind. In other words, it's a downslope wind, and that will generally happen in the evening time. So we're doing some checks here. Power's around 2,100 feet. We're running about 90. Bring my prop control up in here. RPMs are steady. Oil pressure's good. Oil temp is good. And guess what happens in the evening now? You got the ground radiating its heat away, and you have this cool, moist air now dumping down into the middle of the canyon. And what happens is you get these, like, just like water, you get some eddy currents. You get the swirling effect with the wind. It creates its own wind. And different areas in the canyon have their particular anomalies where they can create those kind of winds. So an anionic wind, a canionic wind, and a katabatic wind. And you get turbulence down there. And also when you have warm, moist air and a cooling air, and that mixes, it creates a ground fog. So we could actually have some ground fog down here in the bottom of the canyon. I was hoping for some weather, but I don't think we're going to quite get it. Just in here, looking pretty good. I see the visibility is starting to drop a little bit. I've got to think about other things too, density, altitude. I think this is turning into a course about canyon flying. So let's get a little more view here, I guess. Yeah, I'm trimmed out pretty good. I'm going to apply a little more power. Manifold pressure's looking pretty good. And just a little bit more prop RPM. I'm going to go ahead and close my cowl flaps up a little bit, get a little more warmth on the engine. We're in the Super King. Let's go ahead and take a look at little nav map. I'll show you where we're at. Okay, there's the map, and there we're in Hell's Canyon now. We kind of take a look at our map, and these are some waypoints that I put in here. We are going to Doug Bar, United States Flight Service here. There's also an airport up on top of the mountain. That's Spencer Ranch. Well, we're looking at runway 32 and 14. Looks like the winds are out of the west, so we could pretty much use any runway that we want to. Here is our charted spots. These are waypoints that I put in here. Our landing point was landing point number 3, waypoint 3, and then the secondary one. We came out of there, we were rescued. We're about halfway there, almost there. Probably about another 10 minutes flying through the canyon. Waypoints going all the way through. I try to put them on the river, and this is little nav. Our destination to pick up our supplies is going to be Bar USFS. If anybody wants this flight plan, feel free to email me at flightquestptd.net. It's loaded in my description, so if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll try to get to it if I'm good about checking my email. So we learned a lot of things on this little XPlane12 Hell's Canyon flight. We lost an engine, we did an emergency landing. Somebody else, Snail Mail 7, brought in my King Cub. I flew that out, and he took a riverboat ride up to get back to his helicopters. They're working on rescuing that old J3 Cub, Super Cub, off of that sandbar or mountainside, whatever it is, just south of Granite Rapids on Snake River. Beautiful scenery down here. Not too bad. The sun is, it's a little bit later in the afternoon, so it looks like we're getting katabatic winds as things cool down. Get a little moisture in the air. We're starting to see the visibility drop a little bit. I don't see any stratus clouds. So far, so good. We're not too far from the airport. Well, we're flying in unfamiliar territory. Generally, we can reach out to the locals, talk about the different terrain, talk about the weather anomalies, talk about what is the common weather during moist air, dry air, wind currents, if the wind's coming from the east, if it's coming from the west. What are some of the box canyons that we can utilize if we have to turn around? What are some of the ones that we should stay out of? You know what? It's not inherently wrong to fly into a box canyon as long as you got enough room to turn around. But the problem is that's the problem going into a box canyon, because when you go into a box canyon knowing you don't have a way out, you're going against every good practice you were taught about flying through a canyon. Always have a way out. Always be able to see through the canyon, know what's ahead, know what you left behind. Always play what if. What if I lose my engine here? What if I have to turn around here? Should I turn around here or wait just another minute to give me some more room? Because here is a box canyon to the left, and I can just use the mouth of that opening to give me some more room. Also, if we have to evade, we can try to climb. If the terrain is out climbing or outperforming your airplane, that's a pretty good indication that you better turn around and find a way out. And if you have to generally get down, we could fly the slope down. We're going to show you what flying the slope down is. I'm going to cross over this little bit of a ridge. And let's say we do have to get that turn in here. Here's one on this side. We could maneuver over here, getting ourselves closer. If I initiated that turn right here, I don't have that much room. But I noticed the downslope side over here. Visibility's good. I don't feel like I'm being trapped. I'm going to utilize a little bit of this downslope surface. Remember, we're going to do a canyon turn. So here we go. We go nose down. Yes, we are descending a bit going into the canyon, but we started that turn. It's giving us some more airspeed. We got some more room out of this, and then we pick our nose back up because we don't want to lose too much altitude. As we come around this peak right here, now we've got a headwind. The ground speed starts to diminish. Our rate of turn is there. We're running about 30-degree angle bank here. I might need a little bit steeper. So you can see right now we're into the headwind. Canyon wall is there, plenty of room. That's what we call flying down the slope of the mountain. I remember being taught that you have to be very particular on which slope you choose. But here we are. We've got a nice opening. Getting pretty close to our destination. Our next flight, we are going up north. We're going to land at another airport, and we have a photo mission. I've chosen a stream that comes off of one of the ridges in there. I gotta find a name for it, and we're gonna hike in. So we're gonna fly in via X-Plane and our Super King, and we're gonna unload all my camera equipment with just a knapsack that I put on my back. It carries 2 cameras and some good quality lenses. I happen to use an Alpha 99-2 42 megapixel camera with some Zeiss lenses, and we're going to go ahead and work on the stream, and we're going to smooth out the water, and we're going to make something out of nothing. Little ripples around the rocks and everything, and find a nice little scene. It's a scene that most people would say, oh, that's pretty, and they would just walk on by. But we're going to go ahead and do some photography with it. Well, the weather, the visibility is starting to change here. Meaning that if I had to turn around, I could turn around and leave the weather. Well, we're going to continue forward here. Almost there. There is a roadway down there. What if, what if, what if? Like we said before, you have to know your limits. You have to know the airplane's limits. I have a little bit. Now I'm noticing we're starting to get some weather here, so I'm surely going to be looking at this airport to land at. It's like we're losing some of our sunshine. I can tell there's a little bit of turbulence happening down here in the middle of the canyon. We are just around the corner for our landing. So once again, know the terrain, know the area, get some pilot reports, talk to the locals if you can, get as much information. Advised to get some sort of mountain training, even though mountain training is not a requirement in the United States. Or, like I say, the endorsement for it. If you go to Switzerland or France, they actually have endorsements for flying in valleys and flying in mountains that it is mandatory training. Now, I don't know if there's recurrent training with it. We are getting pretty close to our airport. It's getting pretty choppy now. We're going to start slowing down here. Go enrich our mixture a little bit. Gas is on both. Undercarriage is down and fixed. And there's the airport up there. Mixtures are forward. I'm going to hold the props for now because we've got a bit of power in. I'm going to go 10 degrees flaps. Once we get into the flap operating range, power's coming in. We have a west wind at about 13 knots, not too bad. There's our flap speed, there's flaps 1. Do a little bit of a forward slip here. I'm going to land more into, well, we're getting a little bit of a tailwind here. But I'm going to use this area right here to land the airplane. So you can see the windsock down there. Terrain goes up. goes down. There we go. Let's take a look at what we had in front of us if we'd have kept going. If I get this airplane turned around. That's the wind working on the vertical stab here. I'm just going to swing us around to the left right away. Let's take a look at something here. Oops. That's what we would have been flying into if we kept going. Winds are coming from that direction. We came from that direction, which is not too bad. And you can see the windsock off in the distance there. That looks to be about 15 knots of wind. I'm not sure what the max extension out winds on that. We're going to go ahead and put our cargo bay on underneath the airplane. Let's take a look at that, how that works. Right here, we've got a bunch of stuff. If I move forward and down, let's see what this is. There's your tent. That's the GPS button. This is your rifle, and this is your cargo pod. We're going to go ahead and put that up there to get that ready, as we're going to load up our rifle, our camping gear. Here's our trim. Now you do notice in this airplane, these buttons do not toggle visually, but they do click on and off without anything moving here. Let's look outside. And there you can see our cargo pod. Okay? Weather's kind of improving again, but that's mountain flying. It does change. But let's go ahead and put our tent up. Come back inside the airplane. Let's go camping. Let's get our rifle out, just in case, and let's have another look outside. There's the tent. There's my rifle. There's my chair. Got a couple beverages inside. We're going to go down here and fish the river. Hopefully the weather is going to be improving over the next couple days, so if we are stranded here, that is okay. We are in an open area. We'll be going up over to the houses over there to get some fuel. Let's go ahead and bring our power back. Turn everything off. And shut down. Okay, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again for flying with FlightQuest 40. We'll talk a little bit more about mountain flying, valley flying, and flying in the canyons.